Good evening, Iowa fans, and good evening to you, Kachine Alexander, who's with us on a Tuesday evening. Cash, good to see you, as always.
Mm-hmm.
You're wearing your Wildcat purple, I see. Either you were just...
Purple was my color way before Northwestern came around, so I ain't worried about them.
You owned purple before the Wildcats owned purple. All right.
Yeah.
Well, your Iowa women defeating the Wildcats Northwestern 85-80 in a game that I think was closer than most people anticipated today, Kachine. Although this is a Northwestern team that has played close games. They just don't win close games. And that's kind of what happened again tonight. They stuck with Iowa the length of this game. In fact, they had a 10-point lead in the first half. We'll talk about what happened early. But Iowa survives. That's the best way I can put it, because this was a must-win. They had to get this one. They moved to 4-6. And although they've got a USC team that is dangerous on an emotional day coming up on Sunday in Carver, I think the fans feeling some life. And not all is lost at this point. They've won 2 straight. Your thoughts on the win over the Wildcats today?
Man, we're on a win streak. Be happy. That's how I feel about it. I will say this, regardless of everything, right? How many games have we seen that happen like this at the end that we did not pull out?
True. Yeah.
That's growth. That's what we call growth as a coach. Because we have had how many games slip away from us at the end like this, where a team makes a run or something of the sort, right? And we can't pull it together. We can't hold on. We don't make our free throws. We don't do this. We don't do that. And they end up winning at the end of the game. And I felt like it was kind of heading that direction. I'm like, okay, let's see what we do. And it finally was a little bit of fight. I would say Hannah led the charge in that. And I'm not even saying points wise. She showed a lot of emotion today. A lot of, I was seeing her like, let's go. Like she was really trying to get everybody moving and things like that. And I felt like that might've been a difference at the end of the game, where I don't think that was a thing before. So I would say it is a win. It's a good win only because the growth that you saw at the end. That's what I would say. And we're on a 2-game win streak. So listen, a 2-game win streak in the Big Ten, I'll take it.
Got to take it. And hey, Northwestern now, this is sort of one of those games where something's got to give, because both of these teams have struggled in close games. And it was apparent, I think, in the first quarter, it was apparent that Northwestern was ready to go, and Iowa was going to have to bring it for the final 3 quarters. Northwestern now, they're 0-8 in the Big Ten. Their 8 conference losses, half of those losses have come by 6 points or less. They lost by 4 to Indiana, lost by 6 to Michigan, lost the other night by 5 against a good Minnesota team, and then I think there's one other in there that I'm missing. But yeah, they've competed, and they've got some good players. I like Daly. She's a really good athlete. They've obviously got he's got to be the longest tenured coach in this conference, isn't he? He's got to be 17 years into the job. I can't imagine.
Now. I think everybody else has switched out.
Yeah. So, hey, a win's a win in this conference, and to be at 4-6, you've got 8 games left. Yes, there's a couple of tough ones. Those games against the California teams are going to be, very difficult to steal. But at the same time, after that, I think you and I can both agree you got a couple of winnable road games. So we'll talk about the schedule here in a little bit. Folks, if you want to join the conversation, you can do so by means of StreamYard. The link is in our description. I'll also share the link up in the live chat. Again, StreamYard's very easy to join. Just click the link and then it'll take you to the platform, and then you'll sign in with either Google or with Facebook, and you can either have your video on or off. So I would encourage everybody, if you're going to call in, do not use the phone line, simply because, as you can tell, I'm not at my home studio, so I do not have the interface available to take phone calls. So we can do it the old-fashioned way if there are phone calls on the phone line, but please, I would encourage everybody to try StreamYard. It's super easy to use, and it will help the show to go smoothly. First of all, I want to go to Lemansky with the super chat early. Guyton, what a gamer. She finishes tonight with 15 points, 3 3-point field goals. And there were a couple. I appreciated your tweet pregame. You wanted some hot takes from the fans. There were a couple that were way off, like myself. And then there were some that were very close. And there was at least one or two that had a big game for Guyton and a big game for Stuelke. They were both correct. What did you see? We'll start with Lemansky's shout out here and Aaliyah Guyton.
Yeah, I mean, listen, whenever Aaliyah is on, we're in good shape. So I'm gonna say she's our best 3-point shooter. Yeah, I said it. I agree. She is our best 3-point shooter. So I think that, and listen, 31 minutes, Coach J. Hey, somebody's paying attention. I like it. I think she's exactly what we need. I loved seeing her and Lucy play together. I loved just her ability to create. And I have said before that it takes freshmen a little bit of time to get acclimated in regards to their passing, right? Like the gaps close faster, the competition is a lot quicker, things like that, stronger, etc. Did you see that pass that she made to Hannah? She would never have been able to get that pass to Hannah at the beginning of the season.
Now, I know you're a huge Guyton fan, as am I. You have said that I'm a huge Stremlo fan. I saw Taylor Stremlo make 2 or 3 of those passes earlier.
Amazing passes. She was my next person. And Taylor's, let me say this. Taylor, she it's going to take her a little bit longer, only because she makes more riskier passes in general. Like her passes are like thread the needle. Like, right. Like who the hell are you looking at kind of passes, right? Yeah. So like I know hers are going to take a little bit. You're going to get more turnovers from her than you will, but it'll pay off later because she will get the hang of things. She's a great passer. It's just she's got to catch the feel of college basketball at the end of the day. But those are things that you can see freshmen from start to finish, how they're able to transition and how they're able to grow with the college basketball game and things like that. So, yeah, I thought Guyton was a hooper. That 3 at the end of the man.
Big time. And Hannah Stuelke came out swinging early. She's missed 2 straight games due to the concussion. She finishes with a game-high 26 points, 17 shot attempts. Say that again about one more time.
She could have had 40.
She could have had 40. That matchup was she was licking her chops with that matchup tonight. Fair?
Yeah, like she could have had 40. She made her layup. She had 40. Now, fine. I'll give her the fact that she's been out and this, that, and the third, whatever you want to call it. But yeah, she could have 40. Yeah, either way, I will take the aggressiveness. I will take everything that Hannah came with today. I'll take that. Replicate that for next Sunday.
You and I both have the problem with this is we don't consistently see this aggression from game to game. We just don't. I mean, now maybe she had a what's what, a who's who moment during this time off, where she's watching her teammates play out in the Pacific Northwest. And hopefully this is just the thing moving forward. But until I see it from game to game, I'm going to question it because we've seen these types of performances from her before. And I got to see 15 plus shot attempts from her on a night to night basis.
I ain't like 6 rebounds though, but
yeah, she can rebound better than that. Hey, I love the 6 for 6 from the free throw line. A couple of big free throws late when she needed to. And what a grab there on that inbounds pass. It was a difficult one to corral. She's able to pull it in. And tell you, Northwestern, got to give that team. You don't see many teams that are 0-7 in conference play fight like they fought.
Mm-hmm.
And I like to think they are well coached, because to me, you can easily lose a team.
He's telling them you're right there, and they are. They know that. How many games have they let slip away? Or not slip away, but were in. You know what I'm saying? And it'll click for them. They'll start moving, and they just need the cap off the lid. The lid off everything. So I think that they're right there, and they're going to get somebody.
But that's hard, though, isn't it? Because they're done.
Oh, yes. You're going to start to lose hope. You're going to start to lose kind of everything, and he's got them still believing. So,
that's great coaching. Asa Waters, thank you for the super chat,
Asa.
Yeah. Asa, thank you for the super chat. Can we win an emotional game this year? So I'm considered
emotional.
Yeah, I think Asa is referring to next Sunday. I assume that's what
Can we not? I don't even want to talk about that right now. Let's live in the moment. Okay. Can we just can talk about it at the end. I just want to live in the happy moment of, we on 2-game win streak.
Can we establish exactly what Ace is talking about? I'm assuming she's talking about Sunday, but at the same time, what does that mean? Are there other emotional games what other games would we consider to be emotional? The Cy-Hawk game's emotional. They won that game. That's probably the only other quote unquote.
They're talking about the USC game with Caitlyn Clark and everything else. But Asa, Waters, feel free to write.
Don't forget the Iowa women are 3-0 against in-state opponents, so give them some credit for that. Okay, they beat a good Drake team on the road.
Let's see what they talking about. He or she. Let's see what they talking about. I'm curious of what emotional game they talking about. Then I can answer your question more effectively.
All right, Asa. Appreciate the super chat. Do appreciate the donation. Follow up on that comment in the live chat, Asa, if you could. Okay, we have got a couple things before we get to our callers. I want to run through some numbers for everybody tonight. Again, Iowa is scoring 85 and taking down the Wildcats. It's the second straight game in which Iowa shot at least 40% from three. I don't know what they were the other night. I think they were 50 plus the other night against Washington, but they shoot 51% from the 3-point arc. 41% tonight. 9 of 22 from three, and they're also 90% from the free throw line for a team, Kachine, that really has struggled this year.
Lost the whole game from free throws.
Yeah, free throws, but also 3-point shooting. How many times did we come on this show after some of these games earlier in the year and say they can't shoot threes? So how big is it? Is this you need to see more, or do you think this team has turned the corner with the help of people like Aaliyah Guyton?
And Sydney Falter, actually, her shots is starting to look like last year. It was looking a little janky at the beginning of the season, so it's nice to see that it's kind of back in rhythm a little bit. It looks smoother. We've said. I think everybody said this. Everybody in the chat, everybody that we needed to be able to shoot. So I'm happy that it's starting to click. Now, if there was any time for it to click, the end of the season is great time.
And Iowa, as a team, shooting for the game 48% from the field. And turnovers have been less of an – I mean, they're still turning the ball over, but they're at least competitive in that category now. They were -1 in that category tonight. But, I mean, I do think with this team's ability to defend – now, I don't think they were as great defensively tonight as maybe we had seen. We'll get to that in a second. But if you can shoot free throws at that clip, if you can become a decent 3-point shooting team – they're going to win. They're going to make the tournament if they can do that consistently. I really do believe that because they've been almost winning games, turning the ball over 20-plus times and not making any threes. We saw Lucy kind of return to her somewhat inefficient ways tonight, but at the same time, I don't know that we can expect her to be a 60% free field goal shooter with the volume of attention she garnishes, and rightfully so, the amount of time she's got the ball in her hands, although I do think it's good to see Aaliyah Guyton and even Taylor Strimlow take some of the load off her. I made a couple of notes here, Kachine, that I wanted to share, and you're going to like these because again, you've kind of called me a Taylor Strimlow fan. But how about this early in the game? I was down 16-6, and it was a rough start. And what do we see from Taylor Strimlow? Beautiful interior feed at the perfect spot for an easy Addison O'Grady layup. That made it 16-8. Northwestern responds with a bucket. Right back to Strimlow. She has a give and go with Addison O'Grady, who pops it right back to her. Taylor Strimlo goes lefty reverse to make it 18-10. And then at 20-12, Taylor Strimlo faces up, makes a three at a big moment. And then, of course, the next possession, beautiful pass to Stuelke, which got Iowa back in the game. It was 20-15 at that point. So what do you make of the seeming offensive improvement from Strimlo? As the game went on, we didn't see maybe as much from her, but she only played.
She was in foul trouble.
She's in foul trouble. She had 4 fouls earlier midway through the third quarter, which hurt. I was a little surprised with how they managed that foul trouble, but just your thoughts on what we saw from Taylor offensively, because you have been critical of her. Other people have been critical of her, and rightfully so. She did not look like a deer in the headlights on the offensive end tonight.
No, she looked like she knew what her role was. She looked like she was aggressive from the start. She showed a lot of fire as well. Even the tied jump ball situation, she was like yelling in the grip. Well, not really in her face, but close enough. She just seemed like she had a different level of focus today than beforehand. And even the three surprised me because it was like not within the offense. So I was like, oh, okay. But either way, I like it. I'll take it. We need that kind of Taylor Strimlo moving forward anyways. And I hope that her confidence can keep building from that, because that is a good sign.
Let's go to our phone lines. We got several people who want a word. We'll go to Jamie first, who's calling in. Jamie, welcome to the show. Jamie, you're muted, but we got you on here. Oh, Jamie's gone. All right, we'll try to get Jamie back here in a minute. Let's go. We're going to go old-fashioned here with our phone line. We'll see if we can make this work. Appreciate you calling Iowa Postgame with Kachine Alexander. Who's on the line?
Well, this would be Chris in Wyoming.
Hey, Chris.
Well, how's it going?
It's going
I
good.
want to say, Cash, you're looking good, and Corey, I like your haircut.
Oh, thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, so I kept getting phone calls from Iowa tonight from people who were not watching the game, and I was watching the game mostly on mute. So It's a different perspective. So I'm not hearing what the commentators are saying, but I was watching what I thought was a different team. You know what I mean? They had, they were sharing the ball, they were passing, they were hitting, they were amazing. Can I just say that? So I'm really pumped. I'm thinking maybe they turned the corner. Maybe they're smart. They've got a vision. There's something happened. Am I correct in that?
I would say so. I think we got more fast break points today. I think I had tweeted something of the sort of like old school Iowa basketball or good old Iowa basketball or something. And I was like, run, Hannah, run. I think that that's something we haven't seen. Even the commentators were talking about it, funny enough. So I think that's something that they need to continue doing. And yes, there even were a lot of times where Hannah was still like open. Let me rephrase that. There were times where Hannah was Caitlyn Clark open. Okay. That's what I'm going to use. Not normal people open. Caitlyn Clark open. And I feel like we were still really trying to hit her. Even Taylor Strimlo had a Caitlyn Clark-esque pass to, I think it was Hannah.
Yeah.
But I think that they're definitely trying to hone in on that. It's going to take a little bit of time regardless of the fact. But I did like what it looked like and what it gave us. We just need to keep doing it.
Yes. So what do you think is going to happen with Addie's role? I mean, are we going to be seeing more of Hannah doing what Hannah does best and less of Addie, you think?
They're going to split minutes. Or, well, whatever. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Well, anyway, what a game. I loved it. I have another question because I saw a little video today about Addie Deal.
Yeah.
Coming to Iowa.
McDonald's All-American. McDonald's All-American, Chris.
Yep. And I liked her. She, they did a little interview with her. And I got to say, it was like it's like she's been studying Caitlyn Clark and how to relate to the media, the things that she was saying. But what do you think is going to happen? How are she and Aaliyah Guyton, going to work as the 2-point guards out there? What do you think?
I think it's great. I think it's great. I think it's great to have a couple of killers out there on the perimeter. And let's not forget, they're losing Lucy. I think this offense right now is substantially better when Lucy and Aaliyah are on the court at the same time. Kachine, am I wrong on that?
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
So if Lucy's going to be gone, if Lucy's going to be gone, they need a couple people who can handle the ball and break you down. And based on what I know about Addie Deal, I've not seen her play in person, but what I've seen from her, she's better off the dribble than Lucy is. Maybe a little bit more. Okay. I should say not maybe as polished, because Lucy's been in the game for four plus years, but I think she's more of a natural off the bounce and scoring around the basket too. I still think we're going to see a lot of growth from Aaliyah Guyton as it relates to being able to get inside and score around the rim too. That's my take.
I love that girl. She's something. So anyway, well, that's all I got for you tonight.
Okay, Chris.
Pumped now. So you guys have a good night.
Thanks, Chris. Appreciate the call. All right. Good stuff from Chris out in Wyoming. And Melly in the chat says, slow start, left the door open in the end. They want to give me a heart attack. Were you nervous in this game at any point, Kachine? Were you nervous in the first quarter when they were down 10?
No. Because I've seen that before. So I wasn't nervous at the beginning.
Were my words resonating through your head? Were my words that this is a must win? Don't let it. Don't take it for granted. Don't take it for granted.
First of all, I was the one that texted you.
No, you were not.
Relax.
You were not the one that was telling me to come on.
I was the one that told you I was a little nervous about them, and you were like, "Why?"
You said they were not losing to Northwestern. You said they were roll back.
No, I wasn't. But
all right.
Towards the end, I was kind of more so. I guess I took my fan hat off and put my coaching hat on, in the sense of wonder how we're going to respond. Like, that's all I was saying. I was like, okay, let me see who steps up. Okay, let me see. Like, that's what I was thinking. So I guess I didn't leave the door open for nerves.
Well, let me just give a couple of shout outs here, because we went through some of the numbers. I'll throw the numbers back up here. In fact, we need to let's add Sydney Falter's box score stat stuffing performance, because she also added 6 rebounds, 5 assists, and it's just kind of what she does. But Sydney Falter with 13 points, 6 rebounds, 5 assists. As we mentioned earlier, Hannah Stuelke, 25 points on 10 of 17, shooting along with 6 rebounds. But how about Kylie Feuerbach, someone who probably is not going to be mentioned a lot of post-game, just because her numbers are pretty pedestrian. She's still starting. She finished with 22 minutes played, 1 of 3 from the field, 6 points. But she drew 5 fouls, and was also, I thought, scrappy on the defensive end when she wasn't drawing charges. I just thought she was more active. Now, that's her game. That's what she does best, is squaring up and drawing offensive foul calls. But those are turnovers. Those are big plays. So, hey, I don't know how many of those the box score, the official box score doesn't bring. Yeah, that's her role. And I don't know exactly how many she had, but she had at least 2 or 3. What did you think of Kylie's game tonight? She continues to struggle shooting, but she kind of is what she is. I don't know that we're going to see a different version of Kylie.
I don't have an opinion. I think she's been doing exactly what she's been doing all season. She is exactly what I said she is. She's a scrappy player, a defensive player who's going to get stops and or timely steals and charges. If you're expecting anything else outside of that, you're going to drive yourself nuts.
Yeah. And I think she seems to be playing comfortably now.
In her role, yeah. I don't feel like I think at the beginning, she kind of felt like she had to do something or be something else. And now she's probably just settling into what she is.
She's not taking shots. Like, she didn't take any shots tonight. She shot 2 threes.
Oh, well, she got fouled the other times that she went to the rim, but yeah, sure.
I mean, in general, she was launching threes through much of
thank God for that.
And I was, my hot take today was I thought we were going to see a big game out of Taylor McCabe. She went 0 for 3. She was, from a individual performance standpoint, she was the biggest goose egg on.
She ain't played well since she got in the starting lineup. Remember what I said? Some people just ain't good starters.
That's not true. What are you talking about? She hadn't played well since she went in the starting lineup.
Am I missing something?
Well, yeah, you're missing something. What? 2 or 3 games ago, she was it the Oregon game? One of those games, she was our player of the game. She was the best player on the floor. She was like the only one that hit shots a couple of games ago. Remember that? And we were all like, "Hey, man, she's as important."
Start that game though? Is the question.
I think so. Am I wrong?
I feel like she had a great game, and the only reason why we were in something, and then we started her the next game, and she did not play well the first time she started, and she ain't played well since.
I guess I can't keep track. There's been a lot of lineup shuffling, and some of it due to injury. Hannah Stuelke going out with a concussion. You think we're done with? Are we at the point of the season now, end of January, where we're done? We're done with January games, by the way. Are we done with lineup shuffles, barring injury?
I don't know if Coach Jay has it in her. I would shuffle it, but I don't know if Coach Jay has it in her.
Okay. All right. Diego wants to know about Ava. Yeah. She didn't see the floor.
No.
So I'm having problems.
No.
Huh?
That's the answer. No.
Oh, okay. Well, I'm having problems reconciling, Cash. Mm-hmm. So help me to reconcile here. Was it last time out? I was talking about, hey, Addison and Ava are splitting minutes against Washington. Meanwhile, Addison's playing great basketball. Mm-hmm. So my question is, obviously the coaching staff really likes Ava. One game and one lack of minute distribution doesn't take away from that. But you were extremely complimentary last time out in the blowout win over Washington of Ava Hayden. Just because Hannah Stuelke's back and plays well, how do you not get her on the floor? Are we missing something there?
Where?
What do you mean where? I figure out a way. She's one of your better players.
So here's the thing, though. Remember, we all talked about when you're shuffling players and you're playing them 1 or 2 minutes, it's really pointless because you're not getting into a rhythm of anything. So just putting her on the floor to do what if you're only going to play her for 2 minutes? So that's the problem. Is now you're splitting the second string between 2 people. So it's kind of like, at this point in time, what's going to end up happening is that Addie is going to be your first option off the bench. But if she's not playing well or the matchups don't work, then Ava's going to come in. That's what's going to happen. But they're not going to play them like a few minutes here, a few minutes. That's not logical. So I knew, just like before Hannah got hurt, that was starting to happen because she's now the third string 5.
Right.
Nobody makes it that far. So, especially not this late in the season. We just talked about playing 6 or 7 or 8 people. She's not in the 8. So,
well, a lot of people frustrated in the chat the fact that Ava Hyde didn't play. I'm just telling you.
I understand, but you guys got to remember, we already talked about it lowering our people to 8. That is Aaliyah Guyton, Taylor Stremlow, and Addie.
The problem is Tegan Mulaney ain't giving you nothing.
She's not, but we also don't have another 4.
I know. I know.
There's nothing you can do about it. Nothing you can do about it. Because neither Ava can't play the 4, and neither can Addie, and neither can Anna. So like you gonna have to let that one go, unfortunately.
All right. Asa.
Unfortunate as it may be.
Asa coming in with a super chat. Thank you, Asa. Once again, emotional wins are the ones that are commonly acknowledged as important to the season outlook. We're not looking at being the top 3 this year, but can we still compete with the top 3 in the Big Ten? Clearly alluding to at least clearly alluding. Don't say no. Clearly alluding to the USC and UCLA games coming up on the schedule, Cash. He's saying he or she, Asa, it was probably.
Okay. Oh, you know what? I will say this. Basketball is any given day. Okay? We all know this. It's any given day. You never know how the ball is going to bounce. So technically speaking, anybody can compete with anybody in the game of basketball. If we played them best out of 3, we're losing.
Nobody, but they're not playing. But they're not playing best.
That's what
I'm
saying. I said anybody can compete. Hell, Northwestern can compete. It doesn't matter. And they're 0-8.
Yeah.
So basketball is all about the way the ball bounces. Maybe if we shot how we shot at Washington.
Yeah.
Yeah, like technically speaking, yes, we can. The problem is
okay. All right. That's enough. All right. Asa, thank you for the super chat. We appreciate that. Jason reminding everybody, like and subscribe if you're here. It does help us in the algorithm. It helps the show to continue. So please do that. Thank you in advance. All right, let's go to our guy in Carver-Hawkeye Arena. We got Kyle Huesman of HawkeyeReport.com joining us live. Kyle, welcome.
Thanks for having me on, guys.
That beard's getting longer every time I see you. You are ready for the cold month of February. No shave February. You're growing it out, aren't you?
I'll shave it at some point. I don't let it get too long. It starts to be a little bit more of work than I want it to be.
Yeah, absolutely. Appreciate you being here and for your hard work. Fresh off Jan Jensen's postgame press conference. I'm sure happy, Jan, you can never complain about a Big Ten win. And as we all discussed prior to this one, this was a must win. You could not afford to lose to an 0-7 Northwestern team that I do think is more scrappy than people maybe gave them credit for. Half of their games they've lost by 6 points or less. Half of their Big Ten losses have been lost by 6 points or less. What were Coach Jay's biggest takeaways following this one?
Yeah, I think kind of similar to what you just said, just kind of knowing that in Big Ten play, there's not a lot of free wins. And sometimes there are going to be games that feel like free wins. Like, they beat Purdue pretty handily, but, any given night, even the teams at the bottom of the conference, they're still Big Ten level teams, and they still have the talent to put up a fight. And that's what Northwestern did tonight. So I think Jan came away from this, probably more happy than the fans are about the 5-point win. I think she knew that they caught Northwestern on a hot shooting night, and it ended up being a lot tougher than maybe some expected. But she felt like they did a lot better in some of the critical situations tonight that allowed them to pull out the win. There were still some areas that, obviously they want to get better at, but, 18 of 20 from the free throw line, that they made their free throws when they needed to, 12 of 12 in the fourth quarter. They did some of the things that they needed to late in the game to make sure this didn't end up being an upset loss. But I think overall she was just happy. And, after a 5-game losing streak, you have to be happy about every win. So she was saying that she was just kind of talking to the team about, 2 in a row now. After a 5-game losing streak, you got to celebrate the wins when you've had stretches like that. And rather than coming in and saying, hey, this Northwestern's 0-7 in the Big Ten, we should have won by more. She was more on the side of celebrating the win and saying, hey, we've won 2 in a row now.
I was impressed early on with 2 people, Hannah Stuelke and Taylor Strimlow, especially when they were down. I mean, I mentioned this to Cash at the outset, Kyle, and I'm curious if you saw the same thing. There were like 4 possessions in the first quarter where I was down 8 to 10 points, and Taylor either comes up with a big assist or a big shot. And she had a nice reverse layup with the left hand, hit a big 3. Those are some things. I mean, we've talked about the struggles with her offensive game. I don't know if her name got brought up in the postgame press conferences, but what can you say to Taylor Strimlow's efforts early on the offensive end?
Yeah, I mean, I thought late in the first quarter she was kind of a big one that, when they were down by 16-6, I think it was double digits there at one point. And like you said, a couple of baskets. She had 5 points, 2 assists there in the first quarter. And a lot of that came in the end of the first quarter when she had just come off the bench. So they need someone to kind of step up late in that first quarter to provide some help, just to kind of whittle down what was an early deficit. And she was certainly one of them. Hit a 3, which is something that she hasn't done a lot of this year. But hit a contested 3. And like I said, 5 points, 2 assists in the back half of the first quarter was kind of what helped them, maybe cut into that lead a bit. And actually it came out of the first quarter down 23-20. It felt like they could have been down by more, just the way that the Northwestern came out shooting as hot as they did. But yeah, Taylor Strimlow was certainly one that had a good end of the first quarter. Hannah Stuelke in the first quarter was just fantastic. I mean, she probably missed a couple of shots that you feel like she should have made, but I mean, first half had 18 points. But yeah, I mean, credit to Northwestern tonight, right? I mean, coming into the game shooting 27% from 3, averaging 4 threes a game. They weren't rebounding the ball very well this season. They weren't forcing a lot of turnovers this year. It felt like on paper a game that if Iowa played their game, I mean, you look at the offensive stats Iowa had tonight, you would have thought they won by 20 points. But Northwestern shot the ball as well as they've shot it all season. And I think credit to Iowa in some ways to find a way to win still. I mean, offensive, they put up 85 points, but you probably didn't expect Northwestern to put up 80. So kind of going back to what I said, I felt like Iowa did things in areas where, maybe they were a little off balance with what Northwestern was doing offensively, but they answered it and didn't really let it get to them in some ways that you might see in other games where you're favored by 22 points and the other team comes out and hits 9 threes. That's something that can really equalize a game and put the team that was favored by 20 on their heels. And I thought Iowa handled the way that Northwestern played tonight. I think Iowa handled it pretty well.
I'm going to throw this out for both of you. Let's start with Kachine. What do you think of the defense tonight?
I think that it took us a while to adjust. I think that the coaches went in there trying to pack the paint. I think that, which was the right decision based off all the stats that Kyle just mentioned. But then they came out hot. Now, you, Corey, were kind of saying like you felt like it was lazy closeouts. But a lot of the time when you're packing the paint, they are, because you don't want to get blown by. That's the whole purpose. Like you're giving up the three. We didn't catch on quick enough. Like, oh shoot, they're shooting today, so we're gonna have to switch it up. You've been practicing for it for how many ever days. So making that switch game time can be difficult, especially when you have a young group. But that's what I was seeing the most, is it was just kind of like, pack the paint, we're just here, we're here. And then they started shooting and it was like, should I go out? That's what happened.
And I think that's such a tough in-game adjustment to make, because you go into the game about percentages, right? And Northwestern wasn't shooting the ball well from three. They weren't shooting it a lot from three in general. They wanted to get a lot of their points inside with, Williams and Sullivan and Walsh when she came off she started tonight, but she had been coming off the bench. So you go into the game thinking if we can slow down their interior game, they're probably not going to beat us from three. And then, they hit their first 3 threes of the game and they're up 14-5. But then the decision becomes, okay, is 3 of 3 a hot shooting start? Are they going to go back to the way they've been shooting all season? Or, they hit 9 tonight. So they never really cooled off a lot. So it's just kind of that point of, at what point is this just going to be a hot shooting night for them, or are they going to regress to what they have been? So it's kind of just a tough adjustment in game to make. And I thought they did to a certain extent. I thought in the second half, Northwestern's threes that they made were contested for the most part. I mean, some of those late that they made in the fourth quarter, they were just throwing them up and they were going in. So, I mean, I thought they adjusted to a certain extent, but kind of like what you said, they came into the game with a game plan of trying to shut down their interior game, which is generally what Northwestern's plan is to score in the interior around the basket. And, tonight was the night where Northwestern was hitting from three.
Chief Steve says, thoughts on playing Ava or Addie? This is a very, very hot topic in the live chat. And Cash did her best to shut this topic down here a few minutes ago before he jumped on here, Kyle. And basically what she said is you got to trim the rotation down. You're playing Hannah at the 5. There just aren't minutes to go around. I understand where she's coming from. The naturalist in me says, okay, Tegan's still getting minutes and she's giving you next to nothing. I understand she plays the 4. They have no other people to play the 4 if Hannah's not at the 4. But at the same time, Ava Hayden has been so consistent. You could argue she's been the most consistent freshman from November to now. You could make that argument. She didn't play a second tonight. If Hannah stays healthy, based on what you have, Scuttle, you've heard, and Coach Jay, what she said post-game, she's a post coach. Are we just going to see Ava Hayden kind of slip into the DNPs as we head into the latter part of the Big Ten season?
Yeah, I mean, it's first off, it's a tough scenario to be in because they really wanted Hannah to be at the 4, and we've talked about it numerous times about the offseason and the way it went for Hannah with their surgery and why it hasn't worked out at the 4. And obviously, the way that she's played, she started at the 5 against Illinois and had 18 and 13. Started at the 5 against Nebraska, had 16 and 16. Starts at the 5 tonight, 26 and 6. So obviously, that is what the change they needed to open it up for Hannah Stuelke. And the return has also been that Sita Fulcher's played a little bit better because she's had more room to be able to drive. She's got a 4 on her on the offensive end, which allows her to drive against a player that's a little bit bigger than her, maybe not as quick as her. So I think it's had some its effects that have been very helpful for the offense, but the disappointing part about it is that Ava Hayden becomes the odd person out. Is you're trying to, as well as you can, try to get 3 players post minutes, and if Hannah Stuelke is going to put up 26 points, she's going to have to play 30 minutes in a game. And tonight I did ask Jan Jensen about Ava not playing tonight. She said she wanted to get Ava in hopefully in the second half, but just kind of the way the game went, I think if they would have gotten it to 10, 12 points, I think Ava would have checked in for some minutes. But the fact that it stayed close, Jan said she just kind of wanted to go with the experience of Addie O'Grady. And Addie's just a little bit different in the fact that, Ava is kind of more of the athletic post player, and Addie's a little bit different, and she gives you a little bit more size, maybe a little bit more, I don't know if strength is the right word. They just kind of liked her matchup in the post more than an Ava Hayden, who's more of an athletic center, which you already kind of had in Hannah for a bit there. She said she talked with Randy Henderson, who is the post coach now. She talked to her in the second half, and they kind of decided they felt like staying with Addie, the experienced center, in a game that was still pretty close to that point. They liked that more than trying to bring Ava off the bench for the first time in the second half. But yeah, I mean, it's a tough spot to be in because coming into the year, the hope was that it was going to be Addie and Ava. Maybe splitting the minutes, maybe Addie gets a little bit more, maybe 25 to 15 or whatever the minutes were going to be, and then it didn't work out with Hannah at the 4. And now it's very clear that Hannah at the 5 is her spot that she needs to be in and has produced at a high level there. And if Hannah's going to play 30 minutes a game, she played 28 tonight. It's hard you're going to have to give one of those players 10 minutes. It doesn't really help to give both 5 and 5. Neither of them is going to produce in 5 minutes each. And right now, Addie's the one that's been getting the minutes. Obviously, Ava got some of it on the West Coast swing with Hannah out. But I think some of it will be matchup to matchup. And Jan mentioned it kind of at the end of her answer that USC is more of an athletic team. So maybe Ava in the game rather than Addie is maybe a better way to go. She didn't really dive deep into it because obviously they've still got to put together a game plan. But I do think that USC is possibly going to see more Ava than Addie just because of what USC presents with their challenges.
I still think this is a matchup by matchup thing.
Mm-hmm.
I think I would agree. I think, like I said, I think USC is maybe a matchup that lends more to an Ava Hayden off the bench. And tonight,
and Addie, right? Both of them. I'm saying you might see less minutes for. We all can admit this is not.
Don't even say that.
I don't think you can. The way Hannah Stuelke has played in her last few games, you can't afford to cut her minutes.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
I want to look at stats, Kyle. I want to look at.
I think I get where you're going. You're going with the idea that
No, I don't want us to live in the moment. I mean, Hannah Stuelke shot 17 tonight. That's got to be a season high for her. There's games where she's putting up 5 to 8 shot attempts and she's completely ineffective on the offensive end.
Yeah, but ever since Hannah's moved to the 5, though.
All right, I'm going to go back and look at the stats since she's moved to the 5. When did that happen? Was that like
she's played
Illinois?
She's played 3 games at the 5. She started at the 5 against Illinois, had 18 and 13. She started at the 5 against Nebraska, 16 and 16. She started at the 5 tonight and had 26 and 6. Those are the only.
Boom, Kyle.
Okay, it's not a big enough. You know what? It's not a big enough sample. It's 3 games. It's 3 games.
She has 60 points and 35 rebounds.
All I'm saying to you both is Addie was really good in that road swing to the Pacific.
I am never choosing Ava Hayden over Hannah.
I'm not asking you to choose Ava Hayden. What I'm saying is there may be games. You and I have talked about this.
No, there's not one game I'm playing Ava Hayden over Hannah.
Okay. Are you arguing that Addie plays the 5 and Hannah doesn't play at all, or plays at the 4?
I don't know what it looks like from a starting perspective, but I do think that there's games where you have to figure out a way to play Addie / Ava more than a combined 12 minutes. That's all I'm saying. Tonight wasn't that not, but I think
the only way that's going to happen is if Hannah's in foul trouble.
I think what Hannah's done at the center position and what it's done for Sydney at the 4. I think that outweighs what you could get with.
I think it's amazing.
I think 60 points and 35 rebounds in 3 games is 20 points and 12 rebounds a game.
I get that, but she had played.
If Hannah puts up 20 and 12 for a full season, she's gonna be an All-American.
Okay. Hold on a second. Time out. This was the worst team in the Big Ten they played tonight. They played at home.
Doesn't matter.
Nebraska's not the worst team in the Big Ten. She put up.
No, Nebraska is, and Alexis Markowski is a tough post matchup. Mm-hmm. Nobody's debating that. I'm simply saying I need to see it more than. I need to see it more than
you ain't seen Ava more. How many points has she scored in a game?
Do you keep thinking I'm advocating for Ava? I'm not advocating for Ava. I'm simply saying. Who are you
advocating for? Because that's what I
Ava Addie mold, the true 5. All right, that we anticipated seeing this year. I'm saying those two, there are going to be games where those two combined need more than 12 minutes.
But that's not going to happen.
20 plus.
But I don't know that that's going to lend you to a better offensive output.
All right.
Yeah, I get what you're saying, but you cannot based off of the makeup of this team. It's not possible.
Yeah, I mean,
Hannah has to be at the 5.
Yeah, if Hannah's not at the 5,
has to.
It's just
it changes the whole output of our team.
I understand that, but I think there is going to be games where she really struggles offensively. And we have all seen that there are games where she struggles offensively, and Addie's able to take advantage of a matchup that's totally different than what
I'm understanding of that.
Are you talking about when Hannah's at the 5? When have we had a game this year where Hannah's been at the 5 and struggled?
No, I'm not. I'm saying we haven't seen a big enough sample size. I'm just saying in general,
if she ever struggles, right? Let's just say for the sake of struggling.
There are games where Addie has dominated on the offensive end. That's all I'm saying. Addie has dominated. You can't say that there have been any games like Hannah was really good tonight. There haven't been any games where Hannah has dominated. It's a very small stretch of games, the 5 this year. But there have not been games where Hannah has dominated like what Addie did. Yeah, but again, there's a reason why we all thought she should move back to the 4 because she was not this dominant force at the 5. Can we agree on that? She was not the reason they wanted to move her to the 4 is because of Addie and Ava at center, and had Hannah gotten a full off season to practice her 3-point shot and her mid-range jumper, I think that'd be perfect. I think what you're saying would be perfect then. Addie would be fine at the 5 and Hannah would be able to shoot the 3, but she wasn't. And the only way that Hannah is a force on the offensive end is at the center position. And that's just the way it is. I've talked about it many times. It sucks that that's the way it's went because it hurts Addie and Ava's minutes. Yeah, but Hannah at the 5 is the way you have to. It's just the same
scenario. The same scenario you just said, though, when you said Hannah has played, she's whatever against weaker competition. Addie's been playing against weaker competition when she's great. So, to me, I think you're never going to get more than a 20-20 split between the two. And that's stretching it in my mind. But unless there's foul trouble or something of a sort, you're never going to get more than a 20-20 split. But even then, I'm still not choosing Ava over taking away Hannah's minutes.
I don't want this to come off to say like I think Addie and Ava are poor players. I think Addie's had a good year for what you would expect, what many people expected. She's been better than what people expected. I think Ava Heiden's done a fine job. It's not about them and the way that they've played. I just think that you need Hannah Stuelke to be a contributor down the stretch to win those games that you need to get into the NCAA tournament. And if they make the NCAA tournament, they need Hannah to produce, and that's going to be at the 5. It has to.
I'm going to tell you right. I'm going to tell you two right now. There are going to be games where Hannah's really struggling offensively at the 5 because she's not size-wise, she's not a natural 5. And when you get this team stuck in half-court scenarios, there's going to be games where more athletic, bigger 5s cause her problems, and Iowa's going to need more natural size. You just watch. That's going to happen.
I'm not saying it's not.
They're going to have to go to Addison O'Grady and play her or Ava, a combined.
No, Ava. It's one or the other. There's no 2.
I think your scenario is possible, but I don't think you would make that decision until in game. You wouldn't go into a game saying you're not playing.
Not necessarily.
Yeah, but I still don't ever see a time frame. Okay, guys, we're talking 40 minutes here. If Hannah is starting, she is at least going to get 15 to 20 minutes. Period. So regardless of the fact, that means you have, let's say if you have 25 more minutes left or whatever the case is, you are now playing 3 people at the 5. That does not happen. That's not a thing. So, you either have to play one or the other. If Addie is playing well, great. She's your first option off the bench. You see what she's got. You're not going to go to Addie and then sit Hannah. That's not happening. So that's why I'm saying, yes, you're right. There might be a scenario where Hannah might struggle. Okay, you go to Addie, and Addie's going to do what she's going to do. You're not going to then go to Ava and have Hannah sit more. It's not happening. You're not doing it. So that's why I said it's either one or the other.
I don't know why you keep bringing up. I don't know why you keep bringing up Ava because
you brought it up.
No. This has nothing to do. This conversation right here has nothing to do with Ava specifically. I put Ava and Addie in the same basket. Okay, they're in the same
one or the other
based on how they play. They're the same size. They play the same way. They are not
one or
like
the other.
I don't think you would ever play Ava. I get what you're saying. Like, there might be games where you play Addie more minutes than Hannah, but I don't think there'd ever be a game where Addie doesn't play much and Ava plays more than Hannah, because they're both kind of. Ava is more of a true post player, but they're both very athletic players. I don't think you would gain a whole lot from playing an Ava for 30 minutes and Hannah for 10. I don't think you would gain much there.
You know, I want to be. I did not advocating for Ava to play 30. I was not advocating for Hannah to play the 4. I was not advocating.
You said
but when you say, I think it's how you said it. You were saying like Addie and Ava. Well, like it's either one or the other. Like it's one or the other.
If I'm saying if in a game like that where Hannah's really struggling at the 5 and one is playing better than the other, do you play that one? You don't commit to
But I don't think there would ever be a game where you'd have the minutes in a game to be like, okay, Ava's been playing better tonight, to say she should. You would never. If Hannah's struggling early, you either go with Addie or you go with Ava. I don't think you would ever be able to say like, oh, we're at halftime, like Hannah struggled in her 10 minutes. Ava, like, there's just not enough time at any point in the game to say, okay, Addie has been playing better than Ava. Ava's been playing better than Addie. You would just have to pick one and roll with it. And then if you pick Addie and Addie doesn't work, I think you would just go back to Hannah. I don't think you would have the time in a 40-minute game to, okay, let's see if Ava works. I just don't think
there's not enough time.
Available.
That's
maybe if you go to like quadruple overtime, maybe you'll have enough time. But
there's just not enough time. There's not enough minutes.
It's the unfortunate scenario that you're in, and I think it goes all the way back to it goes back to the DePaul game when Hannah hurt her knee.
Yeah,
that is when this problem arose. They didn't know it at the time, but that's when it happened. And it's just the unfortunate way that it's went that Hannah didn't get to progress as a 4 and work on her jump shot, but that's where they are now. And that's just kind of the situation they're in. And they have to, if they want to make the NCAA tournament and win any games, that they have to roll with what they have. And that's
what they got.
5, in my opinion.
Yeah. I stand by my prediction, though. There are going to be games where the true 5 is Ava or
maybe he's
Addie.
Right. Maybe he's right, because he really got on us about the Northwestern game, how we were kind of writing it off, and they really.
Hey, Kyle's admitting it. No, Cash tried to walk that back, Kyle. She tried to walk that back earlier. She's like, I'm the one who told you to watch out for the Wildcats. And I'm like, no, you did not.
Do you want me to pull up the text message?
I don't care about the text message. You go back, reel back the tape from last time on this show. And then you come to the show wearing purple. Like you're some Wildcat.
I could care less. That's why.
In our defense, we never could have predicted that Northwestern was going to make 9 threes. They hadn't made more than 7 all season. They made 9.
All I said was that we were going to win the game.
Yeah, and to be fair, that's what I said too. I said I wasn't going to waste a bunch of time talking about Northwestern and NCAA tournament scenarios because I thought they were going to win, and they did win. It was closer than we expected. But I wasn't going to waste a bunch of time saying, "Hey, if Northwestern makes 10 threes, that game might be."
Yeah. And Kyle, you did say that this was a big game, regardless of when it came, or what the circumstances were prior, because you can't lose to maybe the worst team in the Big Ten at home. So, the other possibility with this whole conversation in the last 5 minutes is that I'm just totally trolling everybody in the chat. So I'm not gonna admit one way or the other, but I'll let everybody in the chat just guess on that one. Kyle, anything else that stood out from Jan Jensen's post-game presser?
No, I just think I thought for a while during this game, I think the fans probably had the same thing, that you kind of looked at the score and you're like, man, they should probably be able to win this game by 10, 15, whatever. And it just never happened. And I think Iowa had a couple of chances to pull away, and it just didn't happen. But I think once I sat down and kind of looked at the final stat sheet, there weren't really any stats that stood out to me as, wow, Iowa was really poor. I mean, they made free throws, made 9 threes, shot 48% from the floor, 14 turnovers is maybe you want 11 instead. But I think the way that the turnovers have been this year, I think you're okay with 14. So I think final stat, 33-33 on rebounds. Northwestern hadn't been a good rebounding team this year. But I mean, Iowa still grabbed 80% of the defensive rebounds. So I think stats-wise, I don't think there's anything wrong with what Iowa did tonight. I think it really comes down to, early in the game, Northwestern was hitting shots, and Iowa's game plan was not ready for Northwestern to make shots. And then, when Iowa had adjusted, they had to obviously come back from being down 10 or whatever, and they just never really were able to pull away. But I think all in all, this ends up being maybe a little bit better win than the final score looks like, just because Northwestern probably had their best shooting night of the season. They, out of 19 games, this is the one night they picked to shoot and make 9 threes. So I would caution people from being upset about it only being a 5-point win. I think once you take a step back and look at it, it was probably a little bit better than the stat or than the final score says.
Timothy says, I don't think Iowa can play USC with the front court of Sid and Hannah. Kiki is bigger than Hannah and Sid. You got to start Hannah and Ava as the front court versus USC. Well, that's not going to happen.
Definitely.
They're not starting Ava Hayden. And I think obviously very unlikely that they just return back to Addie at the 5.
I predict a lot of zone.
I think it's a really tough matchup because of what they have with Rhea Marshall and Kiki Iriafen. I just think it's a matchup that, like I said, if Hannah was showing that she could play the 4, I think this matchup would be okay because I think you could put Addie at the 5. But if you put Addie at the 5, Hannah at the 4 probably isn't going to help you a whole lot offensively. She'll still score her points, but it won't help you as much as the 26 tonight did. But I also think then you'd move Siddifulter back to the 3, and now offensively, Siddifulter's playing someone that can guard her, that can match her speed, and can Kiki stay with Sid on the offensive end? Probably. I just think USC presents a matchup that Iowa cannot really match, and we'll see how it goes. They're gonna have to make threes. I think that'll be the big thing. You'd always talk about in a game where you're a big underdog, come out and make 9-10 threes like they did tonight. That's always a great equalizer. And Juju's going to be tough to stop too. I mean, I don't know who you put on her because she's a big guard. I don't think people realize that she's not your normal like 5'9" point guard. She's tall. But she's had. I think it's going to take a culmination of things.
She's not your everyday Kachine Alexander. Just kidding, Cash.
I think you would need, Iowa's got to make something like 10 threes. They've got to rebound as well as they have all season.
There you go.
You've got to hope that Juju's had a couple of games this year where she hasn't shot it well. She's not a fantastic 3-point shooter, but she has games where she is. You have to hope that it's the night where she's a little inefficient, kind of what you always hoped with Caitlyn if you're the opponent. She's going to score, but can it be an inefficient night where maybe those missed shots help you a little bit? But ultimately, I think a lot of things have got to go right. Maybe the crowd will help, though. I think that's something else as well. You can never underestimate, a spirited performance with kind of the things that are going around the game.
Yeah, I think if anything, a good character, a high character team, and I think this team is that. I don't think any of us are going to argue that this is a high character group. A high character group, if anything, is going to rally around something like Sunday with Caitlyn Clark in the house and the jersey retirement, as opposed to allowing it to become a distraction. What a dumb thing that would be if you allow that to become a distraction against the number 4 team in the country. So I do think we're going to see a test of character and leadership Sunday. Bob wants to know, this is a question I'll leave for you to finish things off here, Kyle. He says, is Hannah still projected to work her way to be the 4 next year? That's a great question, because if not, then there's no way they retain Addie and Ava. I'm guessing. Now I know that
Addie a senior.
Well, Addie's going to be gone either way.
Well, that's
so
true. You're right. Okay, that's my fault.
Addie's they can try to get her back for another year. They might break rules to do it. But
well, if the whole 5-year thing, that rumor actually happens where players are given 5 years of eligibility, you never know. But do you think Hannah? Do you think they'll still try to work with her getting that jump shot down if she can stay healthy in the off season?
Yeah,
I absolutely think so. That was the plan this season.
Exactly. I feel like it's more about her aspirations after college. Like, it's cool to keep her where she is now, but if she wants to play overseas, have a shot in the WNBA, she's going to need to. So
she's not.
I'm going to keep saying it until I see people stop talking about it. People are saying like Hannah is just not a 4. She didn't get the offseason to show it. That's the thing that people don't understand. People saw what happened earlier. They saw her struggle. They saw her not shoot threes, and when she did, not make them. And people just say she's not a 4. We haven't seen her. She played the 5 last year because that's just what it had to be. They needed her at the 5 last year. This offseason, the plan was to let her work and develop a jump shot, develop a 3-pointer, and she had to get surgery. She played an entire season with a knee injury. I absolutely think that next year, this coming offseason, they're going to work with her to develop that mid-range shot, develop that 3-pointer. And we've seen, she injures her, she gets surgery on her knee. All she can do for months on end is shoot free throws. And what's she do tonight? She makes clutch free throws with 6 for 6. She's been way better this year. If you go based on that she was able to improve free throws with a full offseason, why can't she improve her jump shot and improve her 3-pointer with a full offseason? We just didn't get that.
at the same time, though, there are guys and girls that end up going from high school to college that if they can't shoot in high school, they're just never going to be able to shoot. There are examples of that.
But Jan has talked about how last year Hannah didn't get reps at the 5 or 4 in practice. She wasn't practicing at the 4 because they needed her to play at the 5. It wasn't in practice where it's like, okay, Hannah, you're going to play the 4 all of our practices, and then the game you're going to play the 5. She did not rep the 4 at all last season. The year before, she was a freshman, so she's trying to do all the adjustments to be, a freshman in college, just like all the freshmen are on the team now. And then finally, when they said, okay, you can actually work on being the 4, they were like, well, also your knee's been hurt for an entire season. We need you need to clean that up too. So I don't know if she's really gotten a fair shot to improve that. I mean, as she was good enough in high school that she didn't really need to be a consistent 3-point shooter, a consistent player. And she was okay. I think she showed that she could do it a lot more in high school than she has in college, but she hasn't had the full offseason to do it yet. Now, if she goes into the offseason and works on it and it doesn't work out, then that so be it. But I think people saying that she's not a 4 right now is being a little unfair to her because she had to rehab off of knee surgery and wasn't able to shoot jump shots until the fall. So she didn't get the time to do it. So I think the plan will be to let her work on it over the offseason, and hopefully it works out because obviously you're gonna have Ava Hayden, you're gonna have Layla Hayes, and you'll be in the exact same position next year if Hannah isn't able to develop the jump shot. But I think it's really unfair to say that she isn't a 4 because she didn't really get a chance to become one, in my opinion.
Kyle Huseman, HawkeyeReport.com. Everybody can follow him on X at Huseman Kyle with 2 N's. Kyle, appreciate you being here. And big game Sunday. We'll talk to you after the big Caitlyn Clark jersey retirement. Is that after the game, during the game, before the game? What is the timing of that?
It is going to be after the game. We get to talk to Caitlyn before the game. There'll be a press conference, so we'll get to talk to her. Hopefully I'll be able to get a video from that before the game. I don't know what time we get to do it yet, but we'll get to talk to Caitlyn before the game. Then the stuff will be after the game. They'll drop the banner and everything. I think it would have been really hard to fit into a before the game or a halftime thing. I think it's going to be a pretty big show. So it'll be a fun day. Everything around it. There's a big group of recruits that's going to be here. So I think there's going to be plenty to talk about the game. Stuff outside of the game, obviously. But thanks for having me on, guys. I felt like we were kind of like one of those ESPN talk shows tonight, going back and forth with each other.
As long as it's not the FS1 talk show, then we're good. So, all right, Kyle. Appreciate it. We'll talk to you Sunday.
Thanks, guys.
Thank you, sir. All right. We may have to do a little delayed post game Sunday because people are going to want to watch that Caitlyn Clark jersey retirement, and I'm sure Fox is going to televise that post game. Game starts at 12:30 p.m. Central Time on Sunday, and it'll be televised on Fox. Boy, I'm getting some negativity in the chat. People are being negative towards me. Cash, yeah. Can you believe that?
Why ever could that be? Because
I
don't know where you at. You on vacation?
Yeah, I'm on vacation right now.
Where you
I'm
at?
on vacation. I'm in Houston.
Okay, that's okay. The heat was
What's that got to do with
rain earlier. That makes sense. I was trying to figure out what was going on. That was it. Okay, makes sense. Go ahead.
All right. We got several people. We got somebody in the call queue.
Bring them up.
Let's go quick fire on the comments that are in the chat that we haven't gotten to. First of all, Brock wants to know who does actually guard Juju. Is it Sidafalter? Is it Kylie Feuerbach? I would have to think it's Feuerbach, but I mean, Linda wants to know.
There's no choice. It is Feuerbach.
Okay, so why isn't it Sidafalter?
Because Sid's got to guard their 4, and Kylie can't guard the 4 at all to save her life. So there we go.
Okay.
I predict a lot of zone.
Yeah. I think that's probably the only way to go. There's no way first of all, I don't know that they can guard USC I know we've been talking about the 4 or 5 thing. I don't think Iowa can.
We're going to have to be some tough sons of, okay, if we're going to guard them man to man and have a shot. Yeah.
They're going to really struggle to match up with UCLA, maybe more than USC.
Okay, you going too far. You're going too
far.
But
I'm just far. Saying, you better figure that out because it's not a one-game thing. They got a couple of games coming up.
Let's deal with one of the South Carolina teams at a time.
Yeah. Michael says, I think Iowa's Michael thinks Iowa's going to beat USC on Sunday. Jenny says Sunday's going to be a blowout. She got a frowny face, so maybe
I'm not going that far.
Maybe she's a USC fan. Maybe she thinks that Iowa's going to blow out.
No,
USC.
there's a sad face, so she's an Iowa fan. She's just a realistic Iowa fan. But go ahead.
And Dean wants to know, can we beat USC?
Anybody can beat anybody.
Okay. That's a positive comment. Cyhawk C-Money says Northwestern their coach is my coach of the year. Nobody that goes 0-8 is winning coach of the year as much as I was complimenting him earlier in the game or in the show.
Yeah, he was too.
I think we addressed this earlier. Swoosh Gardens, Ava Hayden, minutes. It's all about minutes to go around when Hannah's playing the 5. Bill wants to know, how can we improve guard play? And I'm assuming he's talking during the season. Okay. Well, what about during the season?
What?
What can you do in season to?
I say this in the nicest way possible. You have what you have.
Okay.
You have what you have. So the only thing that you can do is mix up offenses potentially and get people in situations they're comfortable in. That's it. Or you recruit.
Okay. Kyle, he says, this is a bad Northwestern team. The girls were unable to put this team away at home. This game should have been over by the 3rd. So, Kyle, one of our
– well, now when they hit 9 threes.
Yeah, well, maybe guard the 3 better. J.M. Ramsey says, aren't we past worrying about must-wins? No way they make the tournament. Is there?
There's always a way.
Uh-huh.
There's always a way.
And also the bracketologists out there, the people that make these types of predictions right now, I believe still have, as of earlier today, have Iowa as one of their last 4 teams in. I believe the ESPN bracketologist, whoever that is, has Iowa as one of their last 4 teams in, and which surprises me with a team that was sitting at 3-6 prior to tonight. But that shows the depth of the Big Ten, and we'll see if that pans out. Obviously, if you can get
the depth of the Big Ten, let's call it what it is. The depth of the Big Ten, Iowa's reputation in the last few years, and Iowa fans. The NCAA cares about money, and who travels well? Iowa Hawkeyes.
Yeah. Okay. So you think that will help Iowa?
100%. And I don't care what those people say. If they're going to choose between Iowa and another team whose fans don't travel, guess what's going to happen? They're going to choose Iowa because money matters. I don't know.
You don't like that, right? That's not a good thing.
It is what it is, and I'm very aware of it. So that's why I don't care anymore. It doesn't bother me because I mean, at the end of the day, it's a business. So businesses are going to make business decisions.
Yeah. David says, all due respect to Corey, I think Cash is spot on with her view of McCabe being better off the bench. She's more comfortable doing that because that has been her role. I don't. When did I ever argue that?
I don't think you disagreed with that.
Yeah, I don't disagree with that. I did say that I think a couple of games ago she was really good. Maybe she came off the bench that day. I don't know. Cyhawk C-Money, why'd you put Carly Dirt's comment on the screen? I don't even know what Carly's comment was. If it was negative towards me, I'm not afraid of putting negative comments toward me up on the screen. I do that a lot. David says, why do we still struggle with inbounds passes? Makes me appreciate what a maestro Kate Martin was at this over the years.
That's a very stressful place to be. It really is. And you know what's funny? Is every team has a designated person that takes the ball out of bounds that can handle pressure situations. Like, it's a thing you talk about because it is a very stressful situation to be in. I think it's hilarious. But anyways, good point.
Def1 GHI says, can Cash please explain Jan's rotations to me? Well, I think you thought they were a little better tonight. You applauded the number of minutes that we saw from Aaliyah Guyton, had a Hannah Stuelke. Yeah. Is Jan starting?
I did not see who started the second half, though. I had to go to the bathroom. But did she start the same group that finished the first quarter?
She did in the second quarter. I don't know if they're for third quarter.
Okay, if she did that in the second quarter, we're getting somewhere. Because normal Jan would have put starters back in, and that was going to piss me off. So let's hope. That was my only comment. I was like, she better start the same people that got us that run and got us back to where we needed to get to in the second quarter. So, I think it's better.
I was disappointed that the only thing I'd say about rotations tonight, I was disappointed we didn't see
Taylor.
Taylor Strimlow go to the bench earlier when she got that third foul.
Freshman. You got to get them out.
Well, but then she picked up a fourth foul and she was done.
Right, that's what I'm saying. With freshmen, you can't play Russian roulette. They don't understand the magnitude of their fouls. Yeah. So even her fourth foul was stupid. Like, what are you doing? Right. Like, so I think whenever a freshman starts to get close, you got to yank them. You can't play that game so that you can have them later, especially because she was playing so well.
Right. And then Karen says, great game. Love the fast break points and remain concerned about their ability to inbound, break a press in high pressure situations, as you should be. There are going to be teams, I guarantee you, especially if Iowa gets matched up in certain places, if they make it to March, there are going to be teams that look back at games like the Tennessee game and are drooling with Iowa's inability to break a press. Now, you and I have talked about this, Cash. Not everybody's able to bring the type of pressure that Tennessee was able to bring in that game, but Iowa struggled with turnovers all year. And
it doesn't matter. Anybody that plays with them can disrupt us.
But we talked about guard play.
Who?
We talked about guard play. It is going to be extremely helpful if Aaliyah and Taylor Strimlow can continue to gain confidence with the ball in their hands. Because having them to break up, especially I think with the athleticism, the quickness of Aaliyah Guyton, and she's a true point guard, I should say.
Yeah.
That's going to help, especially if her and Lucy can be on the floor. I mean, how many minutes did Aaliyah have tonight? What did we say?
31. 30? I know.
It's nuts.
Crazy.
31 minutes. Melanie wants to know how many teams go to the Big Ten tournament. The answer to that is 15.
15?
15 go to the Big Ten tournament.
Gotcha.
Not Big Ten, not NCAA.
I got it.
Yeah.
15. So the bottom 3 don't go.
Bottom 4 don't go. Yeah, no, you're right. Bottom 3 don't go. Yeah. I don't know. I got to look at the bracket. I don't know. At one point, I thought it was 14. So I got to look at how the bracket's set up.
Because, that would make more sense because then you match up 2-2-2, whatever. I don't know. Yeah. Anyways, keep going.
Yeah. Dave Ross says it seemed like Sid's improvement is due to her playing with her physical limitations, taking what they give her rather than trying to be Kate Martin.
No, her improvement is her playing the 4.
Her improvement is what?
She's comfortable now at the 4 because she has an advantage. Because she's usually guarded by 4s. So she's able to do more. She can shoot 3. She can drive. She feels like she has, as we like to call it, a mouse in the house, but it's a little mismatch scenario. So she has a little bit more confidence if she's going against a quicker guard.
And Tony wants to know what you think. This is non-Iowa related. Can you ask Cash what she thinks of all the action in the offseason with player movement in the WNBA?
Very intriguing. There's some people that I'm very curious to go to. Brittany Griner going to Atlanta was not on my bingo card. Definitely not. I knew Kelsey Plum was leaving though. I knew that. I didn't know where, but I knew she was out of there. I did not think Alyssa Thomas was an option to be moved. So that's weird. But I'm curious because I like the mix up, the shapes up, because I feel like we haven't had that in a while in the WNBA. It's been like the same people at the same place for years. So I like that. It's great. And now I just want to know where the Indiana Fever are going to get a 4 and a point guard, but we'll see. Keep going.
Okay, we've got a good guy here in the queue. Commander Corey says maybe Corey the caller can give us a pregame speech and then it can go long and we can win.
Give who a pregame speech?
Give USC a pregame speech so they're late to the game and they don't come out for the game and they just forfeit. And we all know that Corey, a.k.a. Cyhawk C-Money, would be exactly the guy. He would have the longest pregame speech in the history of athletics. And what were you bringing up? A Carly Dearth comment. Was it Carly Dearth? What comment did I put on the screen that you were ripping me for, Corey?
I don't recall. She was basically saying that you got.
She was ripping me.
Totally smoked by Kachine.
Oh yeah, I got smoked.
Why wouldn't he put that up there? I mean,
because it's self-denigrating.
That's all right.
But he's an unbiased host. At the end of the day, he's going to put up the best comments.
That's right. And I got ripped. I got burned. I got destroyed. And now I'm going to get burned some more because Corey's here. So, Corey, welcome to the show.
No, you're
Corey
wrong.
got your back.
Corey's got my back.
I'm willing to die on the same hill as Corey
Okay.
Bratta.
All right.
There are games.
Tell Kachine why.
There are games where Hannah has posted up, turned, and looked at that wall and said, "Oh, hell no." And she's kicked it out because there's no way in hell she's scoring against that. Versus Addie O'Grady, they can kick it down to her, and she's done her little scoop hook shot, her little whatever you want to call it. And she's 2 and 2. And again, my algorithm is 6'1" to 6'4". That's Addie land. That's Addie O'Grady land. And if they're over 6'4", put Hannah in because she's not gonna get it done. But again,
go ahead, Cash. I'm going to interrupt the run-on sentence.
I have
Cash.
a question. I don't remember me ever saying that Addie is not going to be a good option depending on the matchups. All I said was Ava can't play. That's all I said. I agree there might be some matchups that Addie is going to favor, and she should, in fact, play. I have no problems with that. But I'm not choosing Ava over Hannah any day of the week.
That's
all I said.
Yeah, I mean, it's super tough, but it just sucks that we can't get Ava 10 minutes or something. Just keep
And I'm a
her
big Ava
engaged. But no, that and I just want to. I mean, Aaliyah Guyton is so cool. Her nerves are so calm. She can shoot that same 3-point shot under any condition. It's so impressive. But I do want to bring attention to Kylie Feuerbach. She is bringing the defensive energy. Her charges, her steals, her disruption is, to me, it started to impact Northwestern tonight and disrupt their flow. And I think that was key. So I don't want to see, I mean, and I know that Bratta is a who's our 3-point special? Taylor McCabe.
Taylor McCabe.
He's a Taylor McCabe lover.
Not a 3-point specialist.
You know what's funny about that? You remember last year how much we both got ripped because I was a Taylor McCabe hater, and now all of a sudden I'm this Taylor McCabe fanboy. I just think that's hilarious.
I'm not there. I don't know where. Hey, I'm never gonna be there. But yeah.
Well, she was. Listen, she disappointed me tonight.
She's disappointed. She should have disappointed you the last 3 nights. I don't know what you talking about.
No, come on. Also, by the way,
keep talking, Corey. While you talk, I'm going to research. Go ahead.
I just want to say something real quick because you say something earlier in the show that's absolutely quantifiably not true, Cash. You can't sit here and say Aaliyah Guyton is the best 3-point shooter on the team. If you go 3-point contest with those two, Taylor McCabe's winning that 10 out of 10.
Who is winning that contest? Threes when it counts?
I don't care.
Oh, that's what should matter.
Okay, but
you can be the best 3-point shooter with nobody in the gym. That's not winning me no basketball games.
I think Taylor McCabe is like the best. Isn't she the highest percentage 3-point shooter in the conference right now? Go ahead, Corey. I'm going to look this up.
Very
that's a tough deal because if it's crunch time, I think I want Aaliyah Guyton shooting it. But if it's mid game, kind of in the flow of the game, the law of odds lends itself to benefit.
Here's
McCabe.
how I know I switched. When Taylor, I'm going to say used to. When Taylor McCabe shot the ball, I immediately thought it was in. I don't feel that way anymore. When she shoots the ball, I'm like, When Aaliyah Guyton shoots the ball, I immediately think it's going in. Every time. That's how I know the difference in how it's changed as far as in-game's concerned. That's the reason why I feel that way. So, yes, we're talking about, pound for pound, like, if she shoots 100 threes and this, that, and the third. For me, when we're talking about our best 3-point shooter, it's in games for me. And Aaliyah has proved time and time again throughout the times that she's been here that she is a more, I don't want to say reliable. That's the word I'm going to use. Reliable 3-point shooter. That's the word I'm going to use. You can have best if you like. I'm going to use reliable.
Aaliyah is shooting 50% from 3 as of right now. She has not played nearly as many games as Taylor McCabe. She's played 15 to Taylor's 20. Taylor is shooting 46% from 3. They're both top 6 in the Big Ten Conference in 3-point percentage. So
percentage
we can
back me up too. Look at that.
Well, she's played less games.
She's
played less games, and she shoots less threes. She's averaging 2.4 a game. Taylor's averaging 4.7 attempts per game. So volume should make a difference here as well. She's made. Let's see, Taylor. How many has Taylor made on the year? Do we know how many she's made?
I'll let you keep Taylor's our best shooter. Fine. You can roll with that. I, however, am going to say that Aaliyah is our most reliable 3-point shooter. How about that?
Okay.
Well,
all right. I can agree on that.
I'll tell you, Taylor has had a lot of them rattling in and out lately and just hasn't gotten the breaks. And Aaliyah is trending up and Taylor is trending a little bit down. I mean, if we have to be honest. So
hold on. Sorry. Let's do this. So the Nebraska game, Taylor. Oh, hold on. The Indiana game. Sorry, the one that we lost. Taylor McCabe had 15 points. Right.
Yeah.
That was that game.
Yeah.
Then she immediately started the next game at Nebraska. And how many points did she have? 5. She was 2 for 7, 1 for 6 from 3. And then we went to where? Oregon. And what happened there? Let's see.
She was 2 of 4.
She was 2 of 4. That ain't getting it. So then we went to Washington, where everybody was hitting in Washington. Hell, that don't even count. We might as well watch that game. It's not a single person that wasn't hitting in the Washington game. That don't even count. Lord. That game was insane. She was 3 of 5. That's probably the game that you're thinking of when you were like, there's been a game recently or whatever.
Well, yeah, 3 of 5 was really no. That's not the game I was talking about.
Oh well, Taylor McCabe was 3 of 5 from 3 that game, 4 of 6 for the game. She had 11 points against Washington.
Okay, but I think I was talking about the Indiana game because that was the game where Iowa everybody struggled to shoot.
She didn't start that game.
Okay, she didn't start that game. Fine, she was
That's
4 of 7.
She hasn't played well since she started.
But she was 4 of. She was only making. Nobody can make a shot in that game. That was the game where Lucy went 3 of 12.
I'm not negating that. I'm just saying she ain't played well since she started.
Guyton was 3 of 9. McCabe was 4 of 5 from 3. That was.
She
made 4 of their 6 threes that game. That
was
but
she ain't played well since.
Well, she played well against Washington. You just
everybody played well against Washington. That's a wash game. I mean, hell, Corey could have shot and it was gonna go in. Like anybody, that game that's a wash. Anybody, hell, like. But anyways, yeah, I think maybe McCabe needs to be on the bench.
Stavros, thank you for the super chat. Stavros says hockey rotations that were winning us games early this year. Freshman plus McCabe were locking teams down like crazy once we decided to go with a primary. What is SEV? I don't know what that means. I think the comment broke up. Okay. I don't know which one was supposed to. I don't know what that meant. But Stavros adds McCabe as a shooter needs plays to get her open. Guyton is the same. Create an offense. They get some shots. Well, Guyton's better off the dribble.
Not the same.
Yeah, they're definitely not. Guyton has the ability to break you down off the dribble, and that's not something that Taylor can do. So, anyways, anything else, Corey?
Well, I think the one thing is if we're sitting here even from 3-point range, we have to consider what else Aaliyah Guyton brings.
Yeah, well, no, there's no question about that.
She drives the lane like she's comfortable driving the lane. She's at home driving the lane. And, but I just want to, I think, introduce the concept. If you have Eddie O'Grady, and this is going to be insane, But if you had Addie O'Grady at the 4, even, and you had Hannah at the 5, and you had Addie O'Grady shooting those 12-foot, 15-footers that
The
she shoots.
problem is not offense, Corey. The problem is defense.
Yeah. Well, all I got to
She
say
gets
is the scariest thing for me, and I don't want to hate on anyone, but Tegan
Who the hell is this?
is scaring me. Tegan has me scared to death.
Okay.
So put Jada in there then. I mean,
Yeah,
what are you
want
going to
Jada in there. You want Jada Gymphy in there instead of Tegan, and instead of you
I'm
want
gonna be
Silky.
honest with you. At this point, I probably agree.
Oh, I don't agree. The
So
future-
Corey's got a love affair with
you guys.
Tegan.
Tegan is not ready. I'm sorry. Like she,
Or-
I'm not saying that Jada is, but let me see what she got. Like that's
Give
all
her
I'm
a
saying.
chance. Give her a chance.
Tegan is not doing anything. She has
Yeah.
more negatives. Like she don't really do nothing positive. Let's call it what it is. She's not very. She's a liability on defense.
You don't.
She's
There
not
is
shooting
more.
the ball well. She's
Okay.
just, yeah.
When two players are close, you
I
play
know
the
where
younger.
he's going.
You play the younger player.
It's
You
a-
play
no.
the younger player that has room to grow and
Mm-mm.
has potential. Jada Gymphy's been in this program 3 years, has obviously not grown like they wanted her to. You don't just throw her out on the court if she's not playing, unless she's outworking Tegan in practice. You don't throw an older player out there just because they're older.
I'd have to take a shot in the dark, honey. At this point, Tegan don't need to see the floor.
Well, okay. They need 3-point shooting. And
We're getting down to crunch time here, and here's Tegan's curve. It's trending like this.
He's in the
down.
gutter.
Yeah. And
Jada
Jada,
can't shoot. By the way, Jada can't shoot either. So Nicholas brings that up. Jada cannot shoot.
I
So-
saw her drive. She
Yeah.
drove the lane. She drove the lane. She can drive it. Hey, if she can't shoot,
Listen,
she can.
I don't know
drive.
what the hell Jada got. So at this point in time, it's better than that.
But we can't get
We can't get no
a
worse.
net negative from that position. I don't care how biased Corey Bratta is
Oh, Jesus.
towards Tegan. She's a good girl. She's gonna be a great Hawkeye. But we can't roll with her if she's gonna continue like she is. We need to try Jada. Give Jada a chance. Split the minutes is all I'm saying. You could still give Tegan some minutes, but give Jada half the minutes. That's what
By the
I'm
way,
saying.
Stavros in the chat says McCabe is 46% for her career. How does Kachine say she's not a shooter?
When did Kachine say she wasn't? a shooter?
You never said that.
Like, when did I ever say that?
You
I
never
literally
said
said
I don't know where that
that-
comment came from, but
they're great shooters. I was just saying I think that Aaliyah is a more reliable shooter. That's all I'm saying. When the lights are on and the game is ready.
Corey, what's this? What's
yeah.
this screen name you've got on?
Sid Guyton.
It's
Sid
it's
Guyton.
my player. It's my updated player of the game.
Who's Bach?
Sid Feuerbach. Last part of Feuerbach.
It's
Oh,
a three-way tie. Three-way tie for player of the game. My RTI threads player of the game, which I have not seen Corey reference RTI threads, Iowa floor covering, or
Well,
anybody
I'll tell you
else.
RTI Threads is not with us for women's basketball. I promoted them last night. We talked about them extensively last night.
yeah, they don't pay money. They don't get what you call it.
They are also working on expanding into women's hoops. So hopefully that happens, and we'll be able to add them back to women's basketball. I know they're working on it, and I believe there's a possibility we may have a couple of. Well, I won't go there. I'll let them make those announcements when it happens. But I do think we're going to see some expansion into women's hoops for that great company. So
Okay, and not to bring Iowa football into this, but
Oh God.
today was a good day.
Was
We
it?
landed the big three. We got the big three linemen, offensive linemen.
Okay. The big three? The big
Yes.
three? Okay, they
Yeah,
got
we got
they got two. They got a couple of 3-stars and a borderline 4-star, and you're calling them the big three.
Yeah, they're the
All right.
cornerstones to that offensive line. So
All right, cornerstones. All right, cool.
So anyway, the game is won and lost at the line of scrimmage.
Absolutely.
So
And Kirk, we love him, don't we, Corey?
we love him because of his blocks.
we love him. No matter what, we love him. We love him, Corey.
Just as his players, I will back him.
Yep,
I will die for Kirk Ferentz.
Gosh.
Okay.
This is sick. All right. Corey, I gotta let you go because I gotta let you go. You know I love you though. You know I love you.
Go Hawks.
Like Kirk, but I still love you.
Go
Thanks.
Hawks. Kirk Ferentz forever. Love you, Kachine. Corey, I'm dying on that hill. Some games, Addie. Some games, Hannah. Go Hawks.
Appreciate it. Go Hawks. Kachine, just ignore the last part of that inside stuff. And if you've watched Corey call into our Iowa football postgame shows, you'll know he is the biggest Kirk Ferentz homer in the history of Iowa football. So, and that's great. More power to him. He is known for that now. So he will die on that hill as well. All right, I think we've ran the gamut of callers here for tonight. The Hawkeyes defeating Northwestern by a final count of 85-80, behind 26 points from Hannah Stuelke, who returned from a 2-game DNP stretch where she was out with a concussion. 10 of 17 from the field tonight for Hannah. Made a couple of big free throws. Was perfect at the line for the game. 6 of 6. Leah Guyton had 15 points, 3 threes. Sita Falter with 13 points, 6 rebounds, 5 assists. Villanova transfer Lucy Olson added 16 points on 6 of 14, shooting with 2 steals along with 6 assists and 5 rebounds. And the Hawkeyes cutting down on turnovers. Still, you'd love to get that number below 10. I don't know that this team can do that or will do that, but you're probably going to be able to live with less than 15 turnovers per game in Big Ten play. And they're starting to have more games like that. Folks, if you're new here, we're doing this each and every women's basketball show right here from the Hawkeye of the Storm. You can donate Venmo, PayPal, Cash App, all in the description if you're interested in sponsorship. I'll throw the link up in the bottom ticker. You can write that down. Shoot me an email if you have questions. info@fromthehawkeyeofthestorm.com. Also follow me at From the Hawkeye on X and on Instagram, From the Hawkeye of the Storm on Facebook. Kachine is at Kachine Alexis, right? At Kachine Alexis. Mm-hmm. Okay. For some reason, I was drawing a blank on that. I get Kyle's is backwards. He's Huseman Kyle. So anyways, folks, like and subscribe before you leave. And big game on Sunday, Kachine. I know it's a game in which a lot of people think Iowa has no chance. You have said before there's always a chance. So give me your keys. You mentioned some of the keys to being able to deal with their size and with Juju, but give me keys for Iowa to have any success on a big emotional day inside Carver on Sunday.
We have to shoot like we did at Washington.
Okay.
I think we're going to have to keep USC on their toes defensively. So we got to come out scrappy. We got to come out scrappy. That's the word I'm going to use. I do think we're going to play a little bit more zone, but I would say we have to shoot the ball at a pretty high clip. We got to come out scrappy, and we got to control the glass.
Okay. And is there any dark horse player? Like, is there any one player that you think? Is it Lucy Olson because of what she can do offensively? Is it Hannah Stuelke?
Dark horse player to what? I'm sorry.
Just the most important player that has to come out and play well. Is it Taylor McCabe? Hit 4 threes.
Everybody.
Okay.
Everybody got to play their role. Like Taylor got to hit 2 threes. Aaliyah got to do what she do. Hannah got to do what she do. Kylie Fearbach gonna have to play defense like she ain't never played defense before. I'd love at least 2 charges on Juju, but I'll take 1. Everybody has to do their part. Like Sid's got to be just a force to be reckoned with. She's got to be strong and just a brute down there. Like everybody got to do what they got to do. We can't have one person who just ain't on. We can't do that.
Do you owe somebody a shout out for their hot take?
I don't, because nobody's hot take came through.
Nobody's hot take came through?
Here's the thing. Half of, like somebody there was a few Hannah double-doubles. Hannah didn't have a double-double, so I couldn't shout them out. And then one guy had said everybody scores and Aaliyah Guyton gets at least 3 threes. No. On the glass, nope. We tied with them. Like, everything was just the one that I for sure thought was Hannah was going to get it, because at halftime she was only 5 away. And I'm like, what happened? She just stopped rebounding in the second half? Yeah, I don't know what happened.
Is there a hot take you have for this Sunday?
Somebody said our hot takes were awful. That's hilarious. We'll try it again on Sunday, guys. A hot take for Sunday.
I'll tell you this: all the hot takes that were flowing in for the game today, people were throwing those hot takes at Kachine, and again at Kachine Alexis on Twitter. We can do that again Sunday. But I think a lot of the people that were tweeting at you, they were looking at through the lens of, okay, this is attainable, this is attainable, this is attainable.
Yes.
In part because you're playing Northwestern. So it's going to be it's going to seem like crazier hot takes for this coming game. It's going to be less extreme, I guess. So I guess
hot takes will be funnier on Sunday.
If you could hit like 3 of the hot takes that were flowing in on X earlier today, if you could hit like 3 of those for Sunday, they might win this game. Okay,
they would, because it was like here. They were good ones. Some of them were really good.
Take right here. Mitchell says Tegan gonna torch USC. Like that would be like if she comes out and hits like 4 threes, Tegan Mullaney all of a sudden out of nowhere, especially after you guys were ripping on her. Boom! Like that's it.
If Tegan Mullaney comes out and torches USC, I'm taking a shot online. It's period. This is what's happening. I'm taking a shot online, and I'm gonna say, you know what, Tegan? My apologies. That's what I'm going to say. But either way, guess what? We'll see, won't we? Hot takes should be very entertaining. So everyone, please follow me at Kachine Alexis, because I am definitely putting hot takes out there. Everybody get your hot takes ready for Sunday, because I can't wait. And maybe this time we'll get somebody to get something.
Folks, my hot take is, here's my hot take. Iowa holds Juju Watkins to under 20.
You're going to have to tweet that on Sunday.
Is that a hot take, though? What's she averaging?
I don't know.
Juju, let's see what she's averaging. She's got to be averaging like 25 a game? Is she averaging 25? She is averaging 25 exactly. So that's my hot take.
Jada scores 10. I'm weak.
Jada scores 10. Okay. All right. That's great. Okay. So Stavros with the super chat. I know Kachine hates it, but for back to hockey rotations, vets to start, then freshmen and McCabe to switch it up. We won with this for so long, then changed. So Stavros is advocating for the rotations that we saw earlier in the season. Any reaction to that, Kachine?
I mean, Stavros, you have your opinion. I have mine. I
think it's harder to get. I think it's harder for players, especially the younger players, to gain any sort of rhythm if they're just constantly
being subbed out.
Yeah.
As a player, it's not fun to play in that kind of rotation. But go ahead.
But you get comfortable with the unit if it's kind of the hockey lineup style changing, I guess. If there's anything.
If it was 5 in, 5 out, yeah.
Yeah.
But that's
we
not
said
how
that a little bit. That's not happened. That hasn't happened in a long time.
That's not how they were.
Mitchell, by the way, says we're going to see an Ava Hayden windmill dunk on Sunday. So that's there's their hot take. Okay, all right, folks. Iowa and the 4th-ranked Trojans on Sunday, 12:30 p.m. Central Time on Fox, and then we'll have postgame coverage. We'll have to time things up because we'll have the jersey retirement of none other than Caitlyn Clark after the game. So stay tuned for all that. Big game on Sunday. Kachine, appreciate you being here. For those people that think that this team is dead and in the water as it relates to tournament hopes, not the case. And just so everybody's able to see this, credit to our guy Tony for sending me this here just a little bit ago. We were talking about the Big Ten tournament bracket. Here's what that looks like for anybody that's curious.
How many teams is it?
It's 15 teams, and here's an explanation as to
how.
Down? Yeah, I'll scroll down here. So you get the 9-8 game, and then you have the 13-12 playing the 5. You have the 15-10 winner playing the 7, and then you have the 14-11.
So 15 teams. Okay.
So So that's
Do
what
we
it
get a
looks like.
bye the first week? I guess we'll see.
Say that again.
I said, I wonder if we'll get a bye.
That's a good question. They got to make it first. They got to be in the top 15, which they should be. But to get a bye, you have to be top 7 or top 9.
Top 9.
So it's going to be tough. That's going to be tough to do. Not impossible, but they're probably going to have to knock off either USC or UCLA. That's my take. So my hot take. All right, folks. Kachine, always a pleasure. We'll talk to you this weekend.
Yes, you will.
All right, folks. For Kachine Alexander, I'm Corey Browder from the Hawkeye of the Storm.
Hot take of the Storm is crazy.
We'll leave it on that. Thank you, Corey. Folks, have a great night. We'll talk to you this weekend.